These are the top 5 reasons why heel Cena isn't working. The first is his motivations don't really make too much sense. He says he wants to ruin wrestling by taking home the championship as the last real champion because the fans didn't appreciate him enough. And I can understand the fan aspect of it, but yet he's still in matches, he's still defending, he's still cutting promos, and once he leaves, does he really think that we just wouldn't reinstate another championship? He should be interrupting matches, main events, cutting promos during high peaks. It just seems that he's still doing what he normally does. It also is the fact that we never really got an answer for The Rock and Travis Scott. Not only was it never paid off at WrestleMania, but we genuinely have no idea what role they're supposed to play. We also have no idea what The Rock was able to promise John Cena to make him turn heel. When The Rock approached Cody to sell his soul, he told him that he can make him bigger than wrestling. But we know he doesn't have to do that with John because John already is. There's nothing The Rock could promise him that he already doesn't have. What I also think doesn't work is that he also never changed his gear. Now, a lot of wrestlers don't change their gear when they turn, like Randy Orton or Edge or Kurt Angle. The problem with John, though, is that he has things that say never give up and rise above hate. It's just such a massive contradiction you can't look it over. Now, in storyline, he justifies it as saying that he doesn't want to give the fans what they want. But I personally think they just don't want to take it off the WWE shop, especially with this being his farewell tour. It also doesn't help that his acting is a little cartoonish at times, and a lot of his promos are pretty much the same, except that he's just saying different things rather than when he was a face. Like when Hogan turned heel, the reason why it worked is because he actually was able to show the people for the first time who he truly is. For John, it doesn't really seem that way. It's really hard for us to believe the shit that he's saying. And as an honorable mention before we get to the last point, we know that this is going to end fairly soon, and we know that he's not going to retire as a heel. So it doesn't really make sense to really invest into this character if we really know that it's not going to last that long. And finally, some people just aren't meant to be a heel. And it's extremely hard for being a face for so long and so dedicated that people can actually really buy into the actual heel turn. And that's something that Austin mentioned in an interview when he was asked about Cena's heel turn. And it really does make sense coming from him because that's essentially what happened to him when he turned heel at WrestleMania 17. Nobody remembers him as a heel. They just remember him turning heel at WrestleMania 17. And people hated it then and they still hate it now. It's widely considered one of the worst decisions WWE ever made. It simply was just not believable that the character that Austin has built up for all these years was willing to work with Vince McMahon. It just was not within his character. Now, imagine that dedication, but for over 20 years. It's just really hard for people to believe that he's a heel simply for how well he played as a face.